We're live, okay. G'day guys, Justin here. A bit earlier than last time, but not in a good state. I've had a couple of beverages, so to speak. But either way, you're here listening to my NBA Player of the Day for what is October 19th, 2017, and my Player of the Day is DeAndre Jordan. Some people, obviously, Blake Griffin having a good game, Kristaps Porzingis having a good game, and even Jonas Valanciunas having a good game for the Raptors. But nonetheless, my player of the game for today, being the 19th, is, as I mentioned, it's DeAndre Jordan of the Los Angeles Clippers. Jordan had quite a good game, nothing spectacular. But by far and away, in my opinion, the better game, as I mentioned, based on my grading system, your contribution overall is much more preferred than, say, going out and scoring 30 points to go out there and actually do something worthwhile, in my opinion. So percentile-wise is what's going to get you over the line, and nonetheless, this is what has got DeAndre over the line for me today. As we have a look and go over the box score here, Jordan had 14 points, a massive 24 rebounds, which is quite big considering 9 of those were offensive and 15 defensive, obviously. He was quite well-rounded in his rebounding game, particularly for offensive rebounds. It's rare you see a guy get up near double digits on the offensive rebounds. But that's something DeAndre was able to do. 1 assist and 1 steal. No shot blocks, which is quite interesting for a guy who is predominantly a rim protector defensively. A nice shooting percentage for DeAndre. He managed 50% from the field. Obviously close shots, but nonetheless 50% is 50%. No three-pointers. Any three-pointers from DeAndre would probably require a WADA or USADA drug test. And 4 from 4 from Law, which is also quite interesting as well. As we go through, he had 3 fouls. Again, not shocked for a guy who's a rim protector, and today with the way they call fouls. Turnovers only 1, which is quite surprising for a big man, but nonetheless, a reasonably well-rounded game from DeAndre. Overall, this was just one of those games where the Clippers had control of the game, well, basically from the tip. I don't know that there was any time where they weren't in control of this game. DeAndre had 8 or 9 rebounds in the first quarter, which should tell you something about the way this game was flowing. Obviously, a young Lakers team and a young side on the court in general for Los Angeles, whether they be obviously they're the Lakers, but in general, whether it's the experience, the way they played, it was just general and obvious. You've only got to look at the way, and a shout out to Patrick Beverley, the way Patrick Beverley played Alonzo Ball. It was quite obvious the way he was going to play him from the way the off season was played out, but nonetheless, it was good to see him bring a fair bit of fight in the way he played. So as we go through the game here, it's not hard. We had an offensive rebound to DeAndre Jordan early in the game. He had 2 offensive rebounds, honestly, early in the game, moving as far as nearly 3 there at one point, but just a missed rebound, obviously. Grabbed his 3rd defensive rebound with a missed I do apologise. It was 2 defensive rebounds. And his first offensive rebound nearly resulted in a basket, but nonetheless he missed that, along with another tipping shot, so to speak. So it was kind of hard. It was pretty obvious from the outset what DeAndre's game was. He was going to let the outside shooters do their thing while trying to cover for them. When you're standing there with 4 offensive rebounds with less than 2 minutes gone in the game, you're in for a good night. And as was proven by DeAndre, his mistipping layup was resulted in foul shots, and he made one of those 2 free throws, which led to a 1-point lead to the Clippers, which also eventually, further down the line, he made both. He made both. As I mentioned, he was 100% from the stripe. So to sit there and grab those rebounds early and get some early points was obviously a confidence booster to him. DeAndre Jordan still, which again was a massive shock considering the guy's a rim protector and he didn't get that rim protection statistic in the block shots. And altering shots aren't brought into account, but nonetheless, not get a block shot was quite a miracle. I did mention earlier the way that Blake Griffin had played. He'd have quite a good game a well-rounded game on both ends of the floor, but nonetheless, to me, a good game. But if you look at the way DeAndre Jordan played, he was the more impactful player, particularly when you look at the rebounding side of things. Jordan with another rebound. Again, he had 5 at this point. We were only 4 minutes into the first quarter, so I mean, what's that tell you about the way he was playing? He even gained another rebound about 20 seconds later, so he was dominating the game, as it says. Rebounding, I mean, he missed a few shots close, general tips off rebounds, but I mean, when you've got to go with 7 rebounds in the first quarter with 7 minutes left in that quarter, you've got to suggest that he's obviously doing something right. As we continue on through, again, rebounding was the predominancy of DeAndre's game. 24 rebounds. You don't do that accidentally. You've got to be quite the hustler. As we continue on through, it was quite dominant, obviously, from the outside shooting. The Clippers have tried to build on that in the off-season. Obviously, losing Jamal Crawford was always going to be hard, but nonetheless, they've able to retain players who can shoot or maintain players who can shoot. So there was no real shock through there. As we continue on through, Blake Griffin continued a fair bit of a run. And that was quite a good game for Griffin. Had DeAndre not had the 24 points, you're probably looking at my player of the game. But nonetheless, I just feel DeAndre's rebounding in the way he impacted the game on that end of the floor was enough for him to warrant my player of the game. I think that's something that a lot of people need to look at, that you've got guys who might be, they only grab rebounds. Yeah, but how vital is a rebound? Everyone lauds someone like a Dennis Rodman, who was basically purely a rebounder and defender, but they sit there and bag his scoring. Well, you need to look at the role he plays. DeAndre Jordan does score occasionally, but he's not a scorer. He's primarily a rebounder and a rim protector, even in today's game. Again, that's just how it works. So we had a hook shot eventually, which was in the second quarter, mind you. So he was only low on points in the first, but heading into the second, he managed a hook shot to move his points up a bit. And as I mentioned, dominating that glass and dominating the rim area there for missed shots was quite key to his game. As we continue on through, we had DeAndre Jordan, another layup again, 6 points. But again, the majority of his game as we go through, even the third and fourth quarters, was based on rebounds, altering shots, and making short-range shots, which is eventually why he ended up with the margin he had. Obviously, a lot of questions will come to me. Well, why didn't you pick Blake Griffin? I mean, even someone like a Porzingis who had 31 and 12 had a big game. The reason I picked DeAndre was the effect he had and the impact his rebounds had. Now, a lot of people will sit there and go, well, he didn't score. Well, he didn't have a great defensive impact. The thing you need to understand is the impact his rebounds had. A lot of teams won't win games without rebounds. It's just a simple fact. And again, that's just how it worked. So, to me, again, that's why DeAndre was my player of the game. He had that impact on the rebounding area. He was, I believe, he was the second highest scorer points-wise for this team anyway. So to sit there and just not really know what, to sit there and go, oh, well, he only scored 14 points. Oh, well, Blake Griffin scored blah, blah, blah. He was a top 3 scorer for his team. It's not as if he sat there and was a scrub. Again, even though he was low post, similar to a Hassan Whiteside yesterday and a Giannis yesterday as well. Both guys worked their way inside and did what they need to do. I mean, as I mentioned before, 50% shooting to DeAndre. He was the second highest scorer for the team. He did what needed to be done. Do I think you could rely on DeAndre Jordan as a primary scorer? Hell no. Even to a third extent of him being a third scorer, I don't think that's the point. If you're going to use DeAndre as someone who's someone who can alter shots, not necessarily block them, even though he's quite good at that, and you've got a guy who can grab rebounds, then yeah, he's your guy. He's ultimately the guy you want. If you told DeAndre Jordan to go out and grab 30 rebounds and that's his game, then you would. That's not a problem. The problem is people grade him too much on his scoring rather than his ability to rebound, and even to an extent, his ability to play defense, even though it's not noticed on the stat sheet. So, I mean, just recapping it again, my player of the day, obviously DeAndre Jordan, 14 points, 24 rebounds, the 1 assist and steal, no blocks, but he shot 50%, from the floor. He grabbed 100%. He made 100% of his free throws. That's just how it was. But again, I mean, it should speak volumes when you look at someone like a Lou Williams, who was the second and third option, even though off the bench, as a scorer last year for both Houston and Los Angeles. He's now sitting there here at the Clippers. He's off the bench. He's the third prominent scorer Yet people will find a way to bring DeAndre Jordan down in comparison to him and Blake Griffin. Again, I think you just need to analyse the way they play and what they do. So, again, for me, my player of the day is DeAndre Jordan with 14 points, 24 rebounds, 50% from the field and 100% from the stripe in roughly 32 minutes of play. Again, you guys let me know what you think. Again, it's a system that can be quite flawed at times. It's just how you play it and what you do with it. Again, I can't do much about it. It's trial and tested. If it gets to the point of the season where it's a little bit unfair and really unrealistic, then that's fair enough. But honestly, a guy with 14 points and 24 rebounds, I think has just as good a case as anyone else for being player of the game. Again, it's up to you, but I just feel that's how it is. So that's how I've judged it. So again, finishing the video, my player of the day, DeAndre Jordan with 14 points, 24 rebounds. I do have a slight bias towards a big man, but I do feel they do a hell of a lot more work than people give them credit for, and nonetheless why it's turned into a guards game as it is. Now you can follow me on Twitter, Justin_G_Bryan. A shout out to the Blitz team who I've just finished from, and a shout out to you guys over there who followed me over. Again, Twitter, Justin_G_Bryan. Check out my videos. Subscribe. That would be really key to give me a good indication of my consistent audience. Like the video and leave a comment. How do you think my system's going? Who would you have had as player of the day? Why you would have had him as player of the day? And yeah, general feedback would be great. But all in all, my player of the day for October 19th, 2017 is DeAndre Jordan of the Los Angeles Clippers. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you with my player of the day for October 20th, hopefully within the day or two. So, cheers, and I'll catch you guys after.